Hi everyone, welcome back to Mount of Praises morning devotionals. This time around we are going to be looking at our old life compared to the new abundant life. Listen to this.
We don't like the way the world is turning. Something inside us always yearning for a brand new world. People everywhere are so confused. Leaders don't know just what to do. Everybody wants a brand new world. And though we send rockets to the moon and the stars, and though we make trains and ships that go very far, and there's not a mountain that man has not climbed, yet a brand new world he could never find. 'Cause if we want a brand new world, you got to have brand new people. And if we want brand new people, you got to have a brand new life. And if we want a brand new life, you got to have a brand new spirit. And if we want a brand new spirit, you got to come to Jesus Christ.
In several of Paul's epistles, he makes reference to a new life, that abundant life which Christ promised us. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17 says, this means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life has gone, a new life has begun. But how much have we changed since we gave our old lives to Christ? This question is much harder for some of us to answer than others. Some of us have come up in Christian homes or have been going to church all our lives. We therefore believed we had very little to change after we made that conscious decision to follow Jesus. To us, it was a matter of formalizing the status quo. The question I asked myself one day was, how far behind am I following Jesus? I looked around and I discovered I was following him so far behind that nobody knew that I was with him. This is when I knew that I was still enabling my old life. It was difficult to find a starting point for change, but I got some assistance from the Apostle Paul, a man who, like us, sincerely believed his way was right, but who turned his life around after his encounter with Jesus.
That you cannot change a man from the outside, my friend. A brand new world begins within. Sing it! 'Cause if we want a brand new world,
one of the things he taught me early was that I needed to change the way I was thinking. And I needed to think in line with Philippians chapter 8 and verse 4, Passion Translation. Keep your thoughts continually fixed on all that is authentic and real, honorable and admirable, beautiful and respectful, pure and holy, merciful and kind. And fasten your thoughts on every glorious work of God, praising him always. You see, my thoughts were fastened on myself, my achievements, then on my family, then anybody else or anything else after. But in Romans chapter 7 and Galatians chapter 5, he showed me how fastening my thoughts only on myself is not only feeding my old life, but more importantly, It is telling God I don't need him. So here's Galatians chapter 5 verse 19 to 21 in the ERV. The wrong things the sinful self does are clear: committing sexual sin, being morally bad, doing all kinds of shameful things, worshipping false gods, taking part in witchcraft, hating people, causing trouble, being jealous, angry or selfish, causing people to argue and divide into separate groups, being filled with envy, getting drunk, having wild parties, and doing other things like this. I warn you now, as I warned you before, the people who do these things will not have a part in God's kingdom. So reading these verses, especially in the King James Version, I said, well, these things don't apply to me. I've always been a good church boy. But when I examined them closely, I saw what Paul was telling me. Worshipping false gods includes like chasing after other things instead of after God. To me, witchcraft was clear, simple, no obey. But he showed me that witchcraft includes manipulating other people to do what I want or to get what I want from them. I would say I don't hate people, but then I remembered how I treated people who got in my way or who reacted differently to me. Resentment when others were favored, and envious of the blessings of others were two of my downfalls, which I didn't consider as jealousy or envy. In my new life, I had to get rid of all of those things. Now I have new thoughts more in line with my new life, a life characterized by love. He showed me that the most important thing in my new life is love. So here's Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 21. And yet I will show you a more excellent way, one of the choicest graces and the highest of them all, unselfish love. The next chapter, chapter 13 and verse 13, the familiar verse, and these amplified versions. And now there remain faith, which is abiding trust in God and his promises, hope, which is confident expectation of salvation, love, which is unselfish love for others growing out of God's love for me. These three, but the greatest of these is love. Of course, I also remembered Jesus' command regarding love of God and man. Mark chapter 12, verse 31. The second is like this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is, unselfishly seek the best or highest good for others. There is no other command greater than these. So, I have learned that God is love, and he has given me that love, a new life filled with love, so that I too can be loved and give love freely, just as he did. Jesus said, love is the greatest. Therefore, we should be motivated by love in everything that we do. Our lives should be controlled not by laws, but by the Spirit of God. So we don't have to concentrate on do not do this or do not do that, because we are now operating in love. The love that God gave us. We are now watching for the fruit of the Spirit being produced in our lives. Summarizing then, so far we saw two ways which Paul has given to us to help us to turn the world around. One, think differently to the world. Change our way of thinking. And two, live daily lives with love, letting love guide our every decision. Now we can look forward to the opportunities to showcase those. We'll continue in our next devotional. Blessings. Continue to enjoy the new abundant life. Amen.
Oh, how he wants a brand new world, a brand new world that depends on me and you. But we'll never find it in the things that we do, 'cause Jesus promised a world of his own, and he invites you to come along.